So match point for de Minaur, and Rafa's returning forehand does go long, and it is 6-1 in the second set. De Minaur goes through, beats Rafael Nadal, and that second set was he did have to work for it, de Minaur, but it was slightly easier than the first.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice moment.
Like Nadal was having to sort of point shorten at all costs, and even if he wasn't constructing it perfectly, he sort of wanted to, try to finish these rallies quicker, just because he wasn't having any success. The longer the extended rallies, especially after the first set, that have to have taken so much, to put yourself in a position where you feel like you can get the set and then not get it, and then it was.
Yeah,
I
that
guess
first
the
set
games
was
were
tough.
fairly quick, but at least he showed signs that he can be more competitive if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, I agree. I think if he had managed to get that point for the double break, you never know. If he'd have taken the first set, would we have seen more in the second? There's lots of things. It was close. Obviously, in that second set, it sort of got away from him in the end.
Yeah.
But de Minaur worked for the breaks that he got. There's no denying that. So I think really, there's positives to say from both. I thought de Minaur's level was amazing and should be commended. And obviously Rafa not at his best, but still competitive. And de Minaur did what he needed to do. But positive signs for Rafa going forward on clay as well.
Yeah, definitely some positives, but also it very much feels like this might be the last time Nadal plays in Barcelona for sure. It's also based on the way he was treated as he left the court and sort of leaving and knowing that most probably it's his last time.
Yeah.
But still, obviously, leaving the window open slightly. We look at the stats here: 42 unforced errors to 11 winners, but a lot of that can also be taken with a pinch of salt when it comes to that count, because you have to up the risk profile if you're Nadal right now. Yeah, de Minaur's forehand was very solid. 16 winners and 13 unforced. That's a very good ratio.
Yeah, he did just feel kind of solid all round today. I thought quite solid, quite steady, not going for anything that's too crazy, but just like you said earlier, a bit of a wall on the baseline.
Yeah, winning 75% of his first serve points, 65 on the second serve. Rafa down at 35, which obviously not too surprising.
Jamie asking what Nadal's next tournament might be. Do we think? I mean, I would personally say Madrid.
Yeah, I would think he'd want to play Madrid again. He still has like a week, right? So about 8 days until his first match there, most likely, because he won't have a bye. So he will have to.
Can you hear me all right, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a bit of background noise for a second there, but it's okay now.
Okay. Yeah. Well, things are pretty lively here because, Kostic has just squeezed past Laura Siegerman, but we'll talk about that some other time. I didn't really hear most of you for the second set. I decided to focus on the match and see how it unfolded because my stream was a few seconds behind you both. But I don't know. I don't know whether to feel a little bit negative or overall. There are some positives to take. I think for Rafa, don't you think, Vanch, from this 2 days and 2 matches?
Yeah, I think the ball striking when he's in position has been relatively for the most part, especially on the forehand. He has shown some flashes here and there. Particularly, I look at the first set when he was, a breakdown and almost got into position to serve for the set at 5-3. Was up 5-4 as well. So there were some signs that he can be still, more competitive, even with the limitations in his service motion, if you like, and just general mobility. He started to read the drop shots a bit better, but then as soon as de Minaur adjusted, as soon as Rafa was forced to hit more second serves, as soon as the match got a bit more physical, we started to see Nadal up the risk profile, try to finish points earlier, flatten out his shots more, and that resulted in more mistakes. Because I think he just has to be okay with that at this point, with how little he's played, and it was just too tough of a task. And Diminor was just ruthless. Every time he had an opportunity, he pretty much just went for it. And I feel like his game overall, like he wouldn't have been in a position even a year or two ago to take advantage of this Nadal and the fashion that he did. So he really stepped on him and made sure that Rafa wasn't able to get some of his uh, mojo back, because even in the second set, he really had to earn both those breaks. But it felt like Nadal was having to play like, he played over 30 points on his serve, and Diminor barely lost any on his serve at all, and he was just racing through his service games. That put so much pressure on Nadal as the match went on. But I think there are some positives. But yeah, what did you think, Kiara?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there's positives for Rafa, certainly going into the rest of the clay season. I think, like I say, regardless of whether you think Koboli was intimidated yesterday or not, it's still a win on the ATP Tour for Rafael Nadal after practically 2 years not playing at his best level. So I think we should be positive, certainly about yesterday. And today, Alex de Minaur currently is I would argue, one of the best 10 players, maybe 8 players in the world, form-wise at the moment. It was a massive step up from yesterday's match. And all credit should go, however much we're obviously all going to talk about Rafael Nadal because he's Nadal, and I would do the same, but all credit should go to Alex de Minaur, because it was not an easy match for him today, for many reasons. Playing Rafa Nadal on pista Rafa Nadal is pretty tough, whoever you are. I thought he handled that brilliantly. There wasn't any sign of intimidation or anything like that from the word go. And his tennis was pretty spectacular at times, Alex de Minaur, tactically and movement-wise and drop shot-wise and in all ways.
If it looks like I'm coming at you from either a late night club or the police and are about to arrest me from behind, well, it's neither of those, but I'm in a very vibrant environment, as you can imagine. Yeah, I think something that you've touched upon, I would agree with. In some certain positives for him to take forward. I saw a question about what tournament will he play next. Well, as long as he's as good as he felt a week ago or 5 days ago when he arrived in Barcelona, then he'll play Madrid. The only doubt would have been for Madrid is if he limped off the court in one way or another today, or if he'd, gone to the semis or the final. So I'm sure he'll try and he'll do absolutely everything he can. The tournament that he might miss would be Rome, but again, it depends on how he's feeling and how many matches he plays in Madrid. Regarding today, I do want to say a couple more things, which you've both sort of touched upon, which is regarding de Minaur, because I think de Minaur made us question Rafa's level a little bit today. I mean, every time Rafa went big, it was one of two things happening, particularly in the second set. Every time Rafa went big, it was either going to be an unforced error, or de Minaur was going to get it back with not interest, but was going to get it back and everything was going to be okay. It wasn't like de Minaur was getting it back and it was going to be an easy put away for Rafa. It was happening the other way around. And Rafa didn't get frustrated as he pretty much never has in his career. But I was thinking to myself, this is a big step up, as you said, Kira, from what he had in the day. If he gets a couple of kind draws, maybe in Madrid and Rome, we might see a few more matches from him. And I remember him in Barcelona in 2021, I think it was, and he looked pretty horrible all the way to the final. And yet he ends up, okay, he didn't win Roland Garros that year, one of the few years, but he recovered and won Rome and got to the semis in Paris. I'm not predicting either of those two things to happen, but I do think he needs some matches. I think there was a running out. There was a couple of balls in the second set where I think if he'd had a few more matches under his belt, he might have done a bit more with. So I'm not as down as maybe some people might be. I mean, I think it was a 60-40 contest before. This result doesn't shock me. I think de Minaur has improved both as a player and even on this surface. I thought he was moving pretty well today. If de Minaur ends up winning Barcelona, I wouldn't be shocked. What about you, Vanch?
Yeah, I definitely put him as one of the top 3, 4 contenders to win this title. And like you said, yeah, I think he was also just not going to chase everything down this week. He knew the main goal was to just get the matches in, be healthy, not make anything worse, and just feel like he can build on it. And this is actually a level that I think he can build on if he stays healthy. I do feel like the serve will need to get better, of course, in time for Roland Garros, but that is something he's gonna have to just work with. Like that's the best he can do right now, and he's done the best with what he's got, and he's sort of Diminor still had to earn it. It still feels like okay, this was a step too far for him to go from 62 to 11 in the world and feel like he has to redline his game in order to get by. But yeah, I'm not that down on it. I mean, he told us everything before the tournament and what his expectations are, and like, yeah, I knew this was going to be a much bigger challenge for him. As for Diminor, yeah, if he can get to the semis and potentially play Tsitsipas again, that would be an interesting match now, more than their other previous meetings, especially because Diminor already beat Steph earlier this year in Acapulco.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, as my internet comes in and out, I'll think it's a good time to draw this to a close. I see one or two people saying that he's never great in Madrid. It's true. Therefore, to be honest with him, if he wins one match and loses one match in Madrid, we'd actually probably be going, wow, that's the same as a lot of the rappers we've seen over the last sort of few years. But yeah, listen, that's still to come, and obviously a lot more to look forward to in Barcelona. Kira, thank you very much for seeing us through, and obviously you had the reins the first set, and then Vance. Basically, Vance joined, I think, at 5-all in the second set, and Rafa won one game thereafter. So we can all blame him.
Put him off.
Well, I decided to come right as he broke back because I felt like, okay, now we've got a match on our hands. But
Yeah, well, we did have a match and at 5-all, and yeah. Listen, as we all said, some positives, some concerns. I know I said we're going to bring this to an end, but it was something else. There was an element today of the concerns we had on the serve against Kaboli. I don't know. I think I saw some other things with the all-round game against an elite player today on this surface. I just don't. I never felt as though he was going to hit through De Minaur today, and I know that's something only probably 5 or 6 players on the tour can do anyway, especially on a slowish clay surface like we've got in Barcelona. But it almost felt that those second serve sort of speeds that we've been talking about regarding his first and second serve, there was something about Rafa even during those sort of rallies where it was like, I don't see him getting. I mean, there was one stat during the second set I saw as well. It was about the number of, I think, points on serve. It was like 26-10
yeah,
that Rafa was having to endure, and it told us a lot about the match. But I'm sure he'll come to press shortly and he'll say stuff like, "Yep, well, I told you I wouldn't make the final." Unlike Tsitsipas saying that, this is what I expected. I need a few more matches, but yeah. So I'm sure he'll put a very realistic, but ultimately maybe positive spin on this.
And just quickly to answer a couple of people in the chat talking about the
Sure,
serves.
sorry, yeah.
No, just because I think some people joined us a little bit later after we'd already spoken about it. Just asking, like Jane asking if the serve something that's going to improve, what's his average serve speed, that sort of thing. Matthew was talking about it earlier as well about Rafa in press conferences. He's said that he's not, going for the serve. He's not putting his all into the serve at the moment because of the multiple physical reasons for that he would have. So if, over the next few weeks, we do see some improvement from him in various areas, like you say, John, I think there's more to improve than just the serve. But if we do see some improvement there, I think we could expect the serve to look a little bit different, a little bit better. And he might go for it a lot more in Roland Garros.
Yeah, I think he'll have to if he's gonna win some matches there. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, big thanks for you, Kira, in particular, but also Vance, of course, as always, for joining us. I'm gonna. Do you want to click a button, or shall I click it, Kira? The one that says "My Movie 28."
You go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. Hang on a second. I'll tell you what, Kira. Before I press it, Vance, do you want to? You haven't done it for like 6 to 12 months. The impersonation of my goodbye.
Oh, please.
Vanch has done it like about 8 or 9 months ago. Can you remember?
Yeah, I think it's like it goes like if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Pretty good, Vanch. I think that since you've gone to the one app, though, I think you're missing some emphasis, and you were really good at the
Yeah,
emphasis last year, the pauses and everything else. But you've got
I
the
got some
phone
feedback saying earlier that it made my voice a little bit too high pitched, so I got to work on the tone.
You need a few more reps, Vanch. You need a few more
Yeah,
reps. A bit
I'm-
like
I'll
I'm
start
just
working
rusty.
on mine as well.
Yeah,
You know,
do it.
it's like Rafa's serve. I just need a few more. I need some
Yeah.
practice. Yeah.
Definitely. All right, I'm going to click the button now. 3, 2, 1.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.